Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a surprise 10 forward number
Surprise!
46. USS Callister.
Yes!
Into infinity.
Even better!
Yep, so, as you may or may not have known, they have finally done the Callister sequel they've been threatening for a while.
Yay.
It's just an episode instead of a show, because there had been talk of a show for a bit.
Fucking writer's strike, son of a bitch!
Is that what did
Whoa,
it?
a whole show?
Mm.
It was going to be at least 3 episodes.
Oh, okay, that's
I
right.
think like a mini show.
Because Black Mirror is what, like 4 a season or something? It's pretty small, isn't it?
Yeah, like usually 6-ish a season. They vary wildly. They come out whenever Charlie Brooker has time.
Yeah.
Which is fine. He's allowed.
Yeah. So, we pick up a few months after the last episode.
Wait, who are you people? Why am I here?
Oh, right.
Oh my god, Liz
right.
is here!
Yeah, so this
With
is...
her giant pink gun!
Get out of my way!
This is Chris.
This is Ames!
This is Caitlin.
Jake.
And this is Liz.
With her
Bang,
giant
bang.
pink gun. So yeah, we pick up a few months after the events of the last episode, as opposed to the
we've covered
real
that
world
before.
several years.
Find out coverage on SoundCloud.
Yeah, and what's going on? The crew of the Callister have had to resort to piracy because of monetization. And in the real world, a reporter from the New York Times, and this really proves that this show is fictional because a reporter from the New York Times is doing real journalism.
Hey!
It's just for the likes, though.
Yeah. is looking into the mysterious death of Jesse Plemons' character.
Daly.
Thank
Robert
you,
Daly.
Robert Daly. Who, because he has this little DNA thing on his desk, and guys like, that shit's illegal.
I have a lot of DNA on my desk.
Yeah.
From when you're balancing your checkbook.
Oh, there's an old reference. And in the meanwhile, people are reporting these no player tag characters, and this all sort of dovetails into real world Nanette working out that there's a bunch of clones of them inside the game and telling Walton, there we go.
Goggins.
Walton, I watched this last night. You think I'd remember. But
Jamie Simpson. He looks great.
Walton, who freaks the fuck out because even though he legitimately did not know about it, could get into so much trouble. So they team up thinking they're going to... Oh, right. No, that's right. He knows about fake Plemons. I forgot about that.
Oh, we don't know this yet.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, that's why I didn't. That's why I went and then didn't say anything.
Great gesturing, Caitlin.
So yeah,
Thank you.
he goes
good,
in...
Good radio. Very good.
with real Nanette under the claim they're going to help, because Nanette wants to help. He just wants to fucking murderize them. This eventually leads to them going to the heart of the game, which turns out is, in fact, a 12 years ago clone of Daly, who's been building the whole universe from scratch, is just writing a goddamn procedural generation algorithm.
Bet there's some fucking DNA on his desk.
You bet.
Real Walt gets back on the ship, calls in all the players that the Callister has pissed off. So the Callister's flying for its life, while Plemons tries to go on a god trip again, gets a knife in his head.
And actually for their lives, because we learned that, like,
they
you die
will
in the game, you die in real life.
And,
You die in artificial life.
yes. And, and in the real world, real Nanette had gotten hit by a car, and now...
Oh my god, which was
brutal,
horrifying.
yeah. And her, half-dead brain is hooked up to the internet for reasons. Real Nanette winds up back in her... internet Nanette winds up back in her body.
Internet.
But she also winds up with the Callister in her head.
Very Black Mirror of them.
Yes, and real Walton gets arrested and now has an evil goatee.
He looks great.
He does.
Why do I know him?
Jimmy Simpson? He's in all kinds of things. He's one of the... You haven't seen Always Sunny. You haven't seen Westworld.
No, but who is he in Always Sunny?
He's one of the McCoyles.
Maybe it's not that, then.
He's also the voice of Dreadnought in
Prodigy.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, no
I
shit.
keep forgetting that.
I don't know. I just looked at him and was like... I looked him up and I was like, I don't know him from anything. He's just a He's just that guy. He's
Yeah,
just that
he
kind of white
looks
guy.
like a dude.
Of course, he was Crash in Herbie Fully Loaded.
Oh,
Yes,
that'll
of
do
course.
it, yeah.
One of my
Everyone's
favorites,
favorite.
obviously.
Oh, he is in Zodiac, which you maybe have seen.
I have seen Zodiac.
He is
No,
older
I'm
Mike
thinking of-
McGill.
Mr. Magoo?
Yes.
All right.
He's
Well,
in a
anyway,
lot of-
I don't
he's
think
like
I
in a lot
actually
of
know him.
things.
I've seen that movie one time, but I don't remember who the fuck that is.
One less tangent, just because, like, what? Apparently, I've heard of the movie The Invention of Lying, but there's also a movie called The Mother of Invention. They both came out in 2009, and he's in both of them.
The Mother of Invention and Lying.
Cool.
Good
So
on Jimmy Simpson. He is fucking so funny in this.
you cast both him and Nanette in your cruise,
I didn't
right?
cast Jimmy Simpson as anything in one of my
Okay.
fantasy crews. I did cast Kristen Milioti as my Kira.
Okay, didn't
Oh,
someone
I
use
love
Doesn't it fit
that.
now? You see it
Yeah,
now?
I love that.
Yay.
Didn't someone use Jimmy? Did you?
They
I
might
could have
have, I
sworn
don't
somebody
remember.
used Jimmy Simpson.
He was one of my go-tos if I needed somebody for something else. So I may have brought him up.
Yeah, that could have been it. So, anyway, before we dive into the new one, Caitlin was not here for our first Callister. So, briefly, what did you think of the first one?
I loved it.
Yay!
I thought it was really great. I really am not familiar with the Black Mirror series, so I kind of forgot. I sat down to watch it and I was like, okay, here we go. It's Star Trek, because I kind of forgot that it wasn't going to actually be Star Trek. It was going to be really dark and fucked up.
It's like Galaxy Quest, but fucked up.
Oh my god! I mean, first of all, the detail is fantastic. I loved the bridge. I loved the look. I thought all of that was really good. I thought they really got the era down really well, like the 60s, sci-fi feel. I was so disappointed in Bob for being such a piece of shit. I, really hoped he would be cool. And, at first, it opens up and it's like, oh, I just wanted to tell you, I really admire your work. And I was like, oh, it's cute. The nerd's gonna have, a little friend. And then they show him, choking Walton on the ship. I'm like, you're fucking disgusting! And hurling him across the room. And I was like, oh no. And by the way, this is why I'm always very nice to AI. I'm always like, oh, thank you, Alexa. Because when this is the real world, when this shit happens, I'm not going to be the one that the computer fucking comes with to fuck with, is all I'm saying. But no, I really liked it. I thought it was awesome that Nanette was a fucking bad bitch. I loved everything. I loved Shania, right? Wasn't her
Yes.
name Shania?
Oh, Lowry.
I loved her. I hated when she got turned into a monster thing. I really loved it. I thought it was really great. And I thought when he died at the end, I was like, good. Fucking exit fucking game. I was like, I was so happy. It's so rare for someone to get some comeuppance. So
yeah,
anyway.
they struck a really good tone with the original. They struck a good tone with this one too, I think, in that you don't usually see a lot of Black Mirrors that have comedy kind of woven through in the darkness, of which there is myriad.
Right.
Because a lot of Black Mirrors are dark. A lot of Black Mirrors are just kind of soul crushing.
Yeah.
This one,
San
Junipero.
That's the only other episode I've seen.
Yeah. This past season has been really good.
These
too.
are literally still the only two I've seen. Because I'm just I can't watch dystopian fiction when I live in one.
They're not all dystopian.
Oh.
And San Junipero is actually kind of nice-ish.
Which one's San Junipero? I know the name.
It's where you can either die normally, or you can die and have your consciousness go up into the Matrix.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, I mean, could be worse? Question mark.
Could be raining.
Could be raining. But yeah, I really liked it, and I the humor part, the fucking rubbing our mouths together out of boredom. I was like, oh boy,
that's the best thing.
And the thing is when they started to disrobe, I was like, oh my god, they're gonna be Ken dolls, and then they were Ken dolls, and I was like, no. And I loved the line oh, you took my pussy, that's a big red line. And I was like, all right. And I was shocked by the use of the word pussy. I was just saying to Chris on the way over, I couldn't believe when they said pussy. They said fuck all over the place, and I was like, yes, normal. But pulling out the P word, I was shocked.
Good on them.
So one thing I had kind of forgotten about, and I don't know if we mentioned it in our first episode, but I kind of forgot that, when they switch off the mod or get out of the mod, delete the mod, whatever, it is funny that it kind of has much more of a Kelvin timeline aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that the title card for this looks so much like the Into Darkness.
I agree.
It's oh, that was 1,000% conscious.
Yeah, it's definitely
well
a
done.
play on that for sure.
It even goes, from an orange to a blue deflector array, for fuck's sake.
Really? What a great detail.
Yeah, some real
That
fucking
was just
nerds
for
work
you.
on
I was
this show.
going to say, that was all you.
Yeah, I think they also, they did a good job. So the original, what year did the original come out?
2017.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So that
It's
came
been a
out.
while.
So that came out back when Elon Musk was still a acceptable
Yeah,
person.
it came
And they
out-
didn't mention him.
And they didn't mention, but then in this one, I noticed that they turned the Walton character basically into an Elon Musk character.
Exactly what Jimmy Simpson said he was channeling.
Yeah.
I have a quote. Here's my quote from Jimmy Simpson. He took inspiration from, quote, a couple of real-world billionaire tech CEOs that are making big moves to satisfy their egos and selfishness without making any time to consider how it will affect the rest of humanity, namely Elon Musk.
But I mean,
Thank you, Jimmy Simpson.
It's also written like that with even like with Elon's history, where like he's basically just this rich kid that buys up other people's.
Yeah, I bet you Elon cloned somebody's DNA.
Oh.
Well, I mean, even just like
Well, he's already putting neural chips into people's brains.
his whole
and shit.
point in going and finding
Bob Daly.
Bob Daly was because he wanted to invest in the company and make himself a co-founder of tech that he had nothing to do with, which is exactly what Elon does.
And 12 years later, still barely understands.
Yeah, he never plays the game.
How do I go back into the game?
I do feel kind of bad for real world tech support friend.
Oh, I love
Dudani, just because he just got a $60,000 a year raise.
Yeah.
That is immediately gone.
Yeah.
It's like,
or he's gonna have to like try to rebuild the whole fucking thing.
Or that.
Which is gonna mean the 5,000 extra a month is nowhere near enough.
No.
He's gonna wind up genetically cloned and shoved into the center of a game if he's not careful.
Yeah. I always find it stupid that, like, you know, being in the tech industry, when he's like, it destroyed the game and all the backups. I'm like, that's not a thing. You'd have unless they're really an incompetent company, which I don't think.
I mean, Walton might have.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like a Walton
but like,
move.
still, you'd still have an offline backup. Like that would.
Yeah, you'd think. I mean, unless because of the nature of the way like Clone Daly was the core of the game, that just wasn't possible for some reason.
And without him there, like, wouldn't it be like a moot point? Like, if he's gone, then what would be keeping it running?
Yeah, but again, like if he has Daly's DNA, he can just make another one.
That's
right?
true.
Like
that's true.
Does he though?
But Walton has no idea what the fuck he's doing.
True.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to log into his game. Plus, like the 3D printer. Yeah, right. The DNA scanner has already been taken by somebody, and
I'm sure he could get it.
the net stole all the DNA samples, and and Bob Daly's dead, so it's not like he can go and just like grab a new swab. Probably get some of the DNA off his desk though.
Well, but Daly, honestly, you could just dig up his corpse, assuming they didn't. What's the word? Cremate him.
But either way, I don't know. I don't buy that this is Star Trek rules where you can't copy data.
Yeah, I think as far as suspension of disbelief goes, I'll give them that one. I have definitely seen things do so much. Like again, even just Star Trek. I mean, the fact that this is a single book on a pad. Like, I'll give them this magic game somehow doesn't have an offline backup.
I mean, it's far from the least offensive, like, suspension of disbelief thing. Like, just the fact that you can clone somebody's consciousness from a swab of their DNA.
Ooh, I have a note on that too.
Oh, we've talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, but I don't think I had this note last time that I found for our watch this time, and that was for the original USS Callister. And the three of you may not get this reference, but in Black Mirror, there's a different episode called The Entire History of You, in which you can basically save your life onto a grain, which is a little doohickey you put on the temple kind of thing. And therefore it has all your experiences, and it can play it back to you and all this stuff. And the original idea was that each character had a grain.
Okay.
And Daly took the grain of each one and uploaded that. But they decided not to, and I forget why. Maybe because they would have to do a lot of explaining what the grain was. And they just kind of washed it away and said, DNA, no one's going to actually check.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a more sinister take would be if, because you have to wear the grain. That's what we call the thing, is a grain?
I think.
Okay.
Or maybe there's an implant too. It's unclear.
So anyway, let's call the thing that they have on the side of their head the grain. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. Because obviously you need that to play the game.
Yeah.
If it was also like secret, like, because that's another thing that big tech does, right? Is data mine.
Yeah.
So if we find out that
check what links
it's
they're
also
this is connecting you to the internet, but it's also sucking everything.
Sucking in your brain.
Yeah.
Smart.
This person is more likely to view these pages on the internet. Therefore, I'll throw them lots of ads.
So then, like, you could create a digital clone of
there you go.
somebody just based on their usage of the game.
That works out.
And back to Elon, what do you think he's doing with those Neuralink chips?
Oh yeah,
you want to tell me
killing
he's
monkeys?
He's gonna kill people. Is what he's gonna do with those chips.
Yeah, no.
He's gonna snap his fingers like Thanos and wipe out the half dozens of people who probably let him do that dumb shit to them.
I was about to say, if we're lucky, he got one and accidentally snaps himself because he seems just stupid enough to do that.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were 3-ish little issues that I had that took me out of it. One was that an intern would never go up to the CEO and ask for a raise. They would go to their supervisor.
True.
Nate, what the fuck are you doing? He has no idea who you are.
Maybe Bob Daly was his supervisor, and now he's...
Maybe. No, he was an intern. He fetched coffee. He had no skills. But he seemed very nice. But good for him. But that was no, this will not happen.
I don't know, though. Here's the thing, it's people that have, balls and do weird shit like that somehow, shockingly make it work, especially when guys do it.
Isn't that aren't all the Doge people just fucking
God.
Elon's...
Well, they're 18-year-olds that he found on X. So have you all heard that he wants to have 1 million babies?
Oh,
so that when the apocalypse happens and he's been DMing people on Twitter.
Can I artificially inseminate you? I promise I won't even be there.
Again, I'm trying to somehow.
But is that how he found the Doge Bros? Was he I would either like to...
I can't inseminate these ones.
I'd either like to impregnate you or have you help me sell out everyone in America to Russia, probably.
There's got to be some sort of way to sort of squish together Incel and Genghis Khan to get a nickname for him.
Didn't Genghis Khan fuck a lot?
Yes, but that's right. He's trying to do Genghis Khan without the fucking... Anyway, this isn't about Elon Musk. I mean, it is, but...
Incel Khan?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
But it's indirectly about him and people like him.
2 more quibbles.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Making Elena blue again seemed cop-outy.
Yeah, what had happened in the first one with that?
Did you say she had eczema or something?
In this one, she had eczema. They put the skin on to cure it, but then didn't have the money to switch her back.
Right.
Which is funny because the monetization of cosmetics in video games is very much a sore point. Because it's traditionally been free, but a lot of games are starting to monetize it. It's fuck you.
Yeah, but why would your skin... why would they program eczema into the game?
Well, no, that's from her DNA, I think. Right? Maybe? I don't know. Let's be honest. It's just because she looked cooler as an alien, so they found a reason to...
That's exactly what it was. It was... People liked this from the first one because it was really neat, and she does look beautiful blue. Good for her. She reminded me a lot of... I wrote the actress's name down. She reminded me a lot of Laura Benanti, who plays Melania whenever she's on Stephen Colbert, and she's fucking hilarious.
Huh?
But
Laura Benanti is also the lead in She Loves Me on Broadway. That one run of She Loves Me.
Really?
That's
and she's playing Melania? That's amazing.
Oh my god! Every time she's the one person who can consistently make Colbert crack with a guest character.
I love when he breaks. It's always
and what an incredible voice.
I also kind of wonder too if they realized because we mostly see her blue in the original, they were concerned if she's on the ship,
no one will
not blue. Who the fuck is that?
She's got the accent though.
True.
They recognize that.
True, but I still feel
definitely
a lot
at
of
least the Russian one.
Bullsec visible.
Love her. She's great.
Is she actually Russian? I meant to look and forgot to.
I didn't check. Her name is Milanka Brooks, so possibly. That seems like a Russian name.
Milanka.
But yeah, the other thing, the thing that did actively take me out of it, because those are just, stylistic things that I understand for the characters, sure, why not? When the characters get fragged in the games, they can respawn where they were fragged, and that seems very
impractical,
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
They'd have a home base. They'd have a home base, but an Overwatch.
Oh, but I think the idea was. You're talking about Walton, why he was able to.
Yeah, Walton was able to go to his home base.
But he responded in his quarters on the ship.
But the way Dudani phrased it was,
he said, if you are on a ship, you'll respawn on the same ship. But my headcanon is he misspoke, and really he just meant if you're on your ship,
perhaps
you'll respawn in your quarters on your ship.
Aren't there some games where you respawn near where you died because then you can go and retrieve your stuff?
Some games, yeah.
But in this game, people are actively stealing your stuff. They don't want you getting your stuff because then you have to pay for more stuff because they want the money.
And when Pink Girl...
Pixie Bunkin, I loved her.
When she kept getting killed, she kept respawning at her ship.
She was near her home base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think her home base is her ship.
Yeah. Maybe. I definitely was expecting her to get Gillian tailored.
Aww.
Gillian tailored.
The cetacean biologist from Star Trek 4.
Oh, recruited onto the Callister.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That would wouldn't be opposed to it. I thought she was cool.
Well, especially because, all the player characters had, fairly unique designs, but hers was so unique. I was like, oh, they're definitely... Oh, nope, never mind.
And it was funny, too, because they said that she was, a new player, too, which, so you just imagine that, she got in and she dumped a bunch of money in it and, upgraded her shit immediately to be, the most visible thing within miles. But see, she'll learn.
On the one hand, that's what I was thinking, is this girl a whale or a Smurf? Because she seems pretty good at the game.
Explain what either of those is.
So in the very sick corporate world of video game monetization, whales are the people who spend a fuck ton of money. Mm-hmm. A lot of these games, especially mobile games, don't actually have that many people spending money on them, but there are enough people who just spend way too fucking much that's really what they're looking for. They're not looking for
more lives in Candy Crush, people.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, I'll switch to a different game until my lives reload.
Exactly. The people who can't just wait or whatever have the all 18 versions of Candy Crush, they switch between them. So yeah, a whale, quote unquote, is someone who spends so much money, and those people really keep these games afloat.
They get their own tier of they could get a VIP customer service line.
Yeah. Yeah, and then in online competitive games, a Smurf is someone who has already reached a high level on one account. So they make a new account that starts them at a lower level so they can easily destroy low-level characters in the games. So she's either a whale or a Smurf, but considering her apparent... Or she just was really good at some other game and now is spending a bunch of money, because she seems to know what she's doing. Mm. She is fairly effective.
I felt that, I liked her presence in the show. I just felt like her, as well as the other sort of other player
the Mohawk kid.
Yeah, they felt very underdeveloped.
I liked that he couldn't say asshole. He wouldn't even say bottom hole. That was a cute joke.
Yeah, but
that came up a couple times in the episode.
Right, but
that was an in-world.
Well, I thought that he said it because his mom kept yelling at him for saying bollocks. Mm. So if he had said asshole, she would have been like, ah! And then I think when the other person said bottom hole, it was because it was a quote.
Well, it was probably him, is the idea. Because Dudani was quoting an incident report, which was probably the one he submitted.
Yeah, calling him a bottom hole.
So it was probably supposed to be that's how you know it was the report from that particular guy.
That's what I assumed.
But Pink Girl, I don't know, I felt like in the scene where they introduced her when they were on that planet and had the fight, they were kind of setting her up, I thought, to be a bigger part of the show. And then...
Yeah, those characters got established hard at the time.
Yeah, and it's okay... Then we just don't really do it. They show up, she shows up again, and the other ones show up again at the very end for the fight, for the space fight. But I felt like if this was originally kind of conceptualized as a mini series or something, maybe they would have done more with that character. Maybe the fact that they established her so much
I'm
is kind of a holdover.
I'm very curious what the series would have been like, because they did say that they were working it out for a bit. They had kind of the story they wanted to tell, and then the strikes in 2023 kind of threw that all out the window, and their producer basically scrambled enough together to say, okay, we're going to make it one feature length episode. This is the second longest Black Mirror episode there is.
After the original?
No.
After White Christmas?
I don't know if White Christmas or Bandersnatch are counted in this because they're both specials. The actual longest one, for anyone who's trying to keep count, is Hated in the Nation, which is the one with the bees.
Oh, that's really... I didn't even think
that one does not strike me as long.
Neither
of these struck me. This was, Into Infinity was 90 minutes, but it goes by at such a clip you don't notice.
I honestly, I like it as just sort of a one-off movie thing. If this was roughly the story they wanted to tell, I think this...
Streamlined that way,
This was fine.
Well, and maybe the issues of, these other characters just kind of being there, maybe that's one of the things they would have dealt with, is giving them a little bit more.
That's what I'm saying,
yeah. That's a lot of
as it is, I feel like they could have tightened it up a bit by not spending as much time establishing them.
Yeah.
You know what I did like, too, as relates to the video game and the monetization and all that, is the default spacesuit you get as a new player is, so fucking ugly. And it's yes, of course, you're going to want to get rid of that as soon as fucking possible.
The white astronaut suit?
Oh, I assumed that was them in, debug mode or something.
My assumption was that's your, noob suit, probably.
With
the goofy gun and, the suit on its own was, but the helmet's so stupid.
The helmet was,
probably it's, pay content to get
Exactly.
better suits,
Well,
better gun.
You can earn it. It's just gonna take 40 fucking hours.
And let's be real too. You can't just buy the suit. You probably have to, buy 50 loot boxes and hope that you get the suit.
Yeah, seriously. So I thought that was clever. Speaking though, of things that took me out of it, Daly's memorabilia.
Well, we have one right behind us.
Yes.
Yeah, he had one of these.
Yeah.
Literally this exact prop.
Yeah.
So it's a Star Trek shuttlecraft
from TNG.
TNG.
The what? This is not Playmobil. What are they called?
Playmates.
Playmates. The Playmate. Because it's funny, they had all these bespoke, not quite Star Trek props and comics and tapes, like all this stuff, and then just straight up the Playmates TNG shuttle just on a shelf.
But I noticed it wasn't there in later. It was only there in the first scene where Walton visits him in the actual garage, but it wasn't there when Melody visits.
Well, because they knew that point they were going to smash it, and that was probably one of the fucking crew's actual toys, and he was like, you don't get to break that.
It honestly kind of felt to me like an Easter egg.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely was supposed to be, but it was just in such a prominent place.
Yeah.
Like, it really should have been more in a corner.
Well, and I offered the suggestion that maybe Star Trek does exist in this world, and while we were driving over, and Chris was like, oh, I don't know, like pretty clear that Space Fleet is Starfleet and Star Trek. I was like, yeah. But in this world, I was like, did you see how many fucking DVDs they had? Obviously, this was the way more successful show. Star Trek died after 3 seasons, and Space Force or whatever was just like
Space Fleet.
Yeah, that's it. There was also a. Did you guys catch the Wilhelm scream?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I missed it too.
There's a Wilhelm, and I actually rewound to make sure I heard it, because I was like, where? When they blow up the Welsh kid that keeps saying bollocks and his mom keeps yelling at him, we get a, whoa!
Yes.
It was great.
That's good. Good
I
for
was
them.
very happy.
I did like that, the cover for Clone Daly was just spinny things, because that is so, like, video game sci-fi shorthand for, like, awe-inspiring future tech. Just bunch of spinning rings, sure.
Very flashy.
Oh, with the heart.
Yeah.
That kind of cover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's curious to me that the Dead Man switch would have been attached to the clone of Daly and not the actual Daly. I don't know. It just seems interesting. Why even have a Dead Man switch at that point?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I mean, I know it was there for dramatic effect.
Yeah. I mean, I can see not attaching it to real Daly, because, like, that way if Walton wants, he can get rid of Daly.
Yeah, but I think, the thing with a Dead Man switch is that somebody who regards themselves as indispensable will sneak one in.
Yeah.
And that way, if they, like, in real life, the joke is always that, like, a sysadmin or like a developer will sneak in a Dead Man switch so that if they ever get fired or laid off,
It'll fuck over the
company.
Right, Bob Daly could have built one in so that Walton couldn't get rid of it.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, maybe even Clone Daly doesn't know about it. Maybe real Daly put it into Clone Daly.
Or maybe real Daly, like, usually the way a Dead Man switch works in software is it's like something that you have to do regularly, like touch a file or like do something that, like, lets the system know that
so,
you're
like, if
still
you
there.
don't touch it for like a week, it like does it on.
Yeah,
wow.
it does whatever it would do, because it's like, oh shit, the thing didn't get updated, so I'm going to shut down.
I feel like
maybe real Daly already had that, but Clone Daly was still updating it, even though real Daly had died because he was a clone.
Yeah. Wasn't there... I feel like that was actually in the news recently. Someone, like, a Dead Man switch scenario happened.
Really?
Like, yeah, and I think it was kind of a big enough deal that it made the news, because it ended up costing the company a lot of fucking money.
Whoopsie. Oh, I liked our Matrix reference, too, with the discs. Were they like a blue disc and a red disc?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I assume that was a Matrix thing.
Yeah.
No, it totally was.
Yeah.
Yeah, even that, like, that's a little Star Trek-y decision that Daly puts on Cole to say, like, which will you save yourself or save the ship? And she's like, I'll save the ship. He says, aha, this was the correct answer. You get the actual other option.
Who's the Metron now?
I love this.
That was like fucking talking
And
computers.
200 Quatloos.
That was her solution to the Kirk computer problem. Throw a knife into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like, because I know they were keeping secret that Daly would come back, because, everyone in the audience knows, like, Daly is dead. There's no way he can come back.
Yeah.
And Jesse Plemons apparently in the last 7 years or so has lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
So he just looks young now.
Yep.
So, because my first question was, how did they de-age? Oh no, that's just him now. Holy shit.
Yeah, he looks great.
Good for Jesse Plemons. He's a cutie.
Well, you know why? Because, like, I have to imagine that if I were stripped down to my underoos on a TV and then had to see it, I would become really, like, way more, like, upset about what I was seeing than, like, on the daily. Like, if I was like, wow, 40 million people watched this episode, saw my bitch tits. I'm gonna lose some weight. Not that he had bitch tits, I'm just saying, like...
No, but there was a hot second when they introduced Clone Daly, and I'm like, oh no. Are they trying to redeem the Daly character? I wrote in my notes literally, oh no, what does this say about what is this that they're trying to say about toxic masculinity? Because the last episode was very much in response to the Me Too movement. What are they doing with him now? Oh no, good, he's still a dick. Yeah, We're fine.
My notes say, not sure how I like the wholesomizing of Daly. Next note, gotcha. Still a creep.
Yeah, and they do foreshadow it even, because, like, when Walton pulls up with his girlfriend there. Was that supposed to be Elena? I wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure either.
Because she's, long blonde hair and kind of looking at her phone, which is shorthand for her in the real world, but...
It's just... Oh, yeah, he was staring at her creepily.
A little, he was already kind of staring.
She wasn't blue, so I couldn't tell.
Exactly.
She was something that he wanted.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so it's probably already in him. But I have to admit, even I was like, oh, yeah, but this is pre-crime Daly. Maybe he was corrupted by Walton. It's like, no, he was just always awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says some very interesting things about, like, because I'm always, like, very interested by, like, what makes a person themselves.
Yeah.
And it's usually, like, their experiences, which is why when we talked about, say, separating Riker into Will and Tom, that they're the same person but not, but also, yes, they are, but also they have the same self, but they've had different experiences, and at what point can you really say you're a different person?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very interesting thing to put on the Bob Daly character, because he is still capable of grossness, of just being this creep. And his experience, though different from real-life Bob Daly, shows that he's still that guy.
Yeah. Well, you think he's just like, he's the sort of model of a incel, right? Where he thinks he's a nice guy, and
he's owed something for being nice,
and then exactly. So I don't know. I think it fits with who Daly is as a person.
Yeah.
Well, and also being like completely isolated from literally everyone while having godlike powers, like, isn't going to make you less of a fucking creepy weirdo. Like,
so now what we got to do is we got to go and find the clone that was made of him when he was like a baby,
and kill it.
No.
Wow.
For the good of humanity? No? I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, you're seriously asking me? No, I was just the notion of going back and seeing, like, the...
What kind of person would that
What kind of person, experience versus...
Yeah, because we never questioned, like...
Your nature versus nurture.
In Star Trek, the mirror universe, and those are emphatically different people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting because, like, I'm not one for a redemption arc. Like, I hate that they gave one to Kylo in the sequels.
When they made him awful, I thought of you. I was like, Chris will be happy.
But in this case, I was like, there was a part of me, because it was an earlier him before he committed all those crimes, I was like, oh, maybe old Daly was a good guy, and he'll be okay this time. And I have to admit, he kind of won me over with the way he said, I like stories. And I was like, oh, maybe he'll be okay. But there were all these things shining. He's like, no, he's not. But I really want... Nope. He's a piece of shit.
No, but see, as soon as he did the choice thing, and then...
Well, even before that, there was always something... There were these little flashes. And then once he did that, it's like, oh, yeah, no, he's definitely... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they definitely built
but there was a split second where I was like, oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, the stories was good.
The way he delivered that, yeah.
But wait, why is the disc choice the thing that made him suddenly irredeemable?
It's manipulative.
It was so, like, he does the choice thing, and then she makes the quote unquote right choice, and he mentions, he like compares it to that one episode of Space Fleet, and I'm like, he really just put her through an emotional ringer.
Yeah, gross.
What if she has to, as a test to make himself feel smart and cool.
Yeah.
And be the grand hero and, and savior. Like, this is all, like, this is all him as the main character and him getting to, like... It was just absolutely great. Like...
What would he have done if she had picked the other option? If she had picked save herself?
I mean, think of any time someone's pulled that kind of shit with you and just, like, how smug and how good they feel about themselves and how cute it was, and maybe they think they're playing a fun little, like, just a little harmless prank on you, and you feel like shit. And they don't care. Or is it just me? Have I been the only one been put through shit like that?
Yeah, I certainly.
I've known some manipulative people.
Clearly. Because I've only ever seen that kind of bullshit
on
television. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, if she had chosen wrong, he would have been like, "Ah, you've chosen wrong. Now you must stay here with me forever," which was his plan anyway.
Here's the one thing that actually I was really like, okay, like, you've got these godlike powers, you've been on for 500 years. Why didn't you make a friend?
Yeah, you could have Bride of Frankenstein to that shit ages ago.
I feel like that maybe also just ties into that kind of person who, like, just, it needs to be real, quote unquote, you know? Like, he needs to have control, but it needs to be over someone who had
agency that he's taking away.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that, you know, that's sort of something that, like, I follow this subreddit that mocks creepy gamers. And the thing that comes up a lot is, like, whenever they get upset that a game has quote-unquote been censored or whatever, it's like, dude, they literally make porn games. Like, just play those. But it's like, you don't get it, because for these people, it's not, like, a character in a porn game is frequently, like, wants to be there engaging in the porn. They want it to be, there needs to be this element of non-consent for them.
Have you heard about this new game that apparently exists? Where you get to, like, kidnap, torture, rape, etc., and it's like your sister or something, so it's like creepy, horrible rape porn game, but also it's got incest.
Yep,
Some
it's
game
already
that's available on Steam.
No, it's
oh, it's gone now.
It's globally banned from Steam, and itch.io has taken it down as well.
But it was up for a minute.
Horrifying.
It was up for long enough for people to write articles about it, and you know.
I mean, was it actually like a popular game, or is it just? Like...
I mean, with a contingent of right-wing freaks.
Okay, yeah.
It has come up frequently on that subreddit I was talking about.
Elon Musk.
Probably.
I mean
what's that? Ooh.
Sorry.
No, you.
No, I'm going back to the.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's the Reddit? Because I want to.
Gaming Circle Jerk.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna join that Reddit.
Yeah, this is why I'm not at all surprised and find it, fully appropriate that when they say, like, oh yeah, we have this DNA resequencer, it was originally made for porn, so people could have, like, a swab from somebody that they, took a coffee cup from, put them in the game and fuck them.
Like that episode of Star Trek where Quark is trying to trick Kira into being holo-pictured, so not Brunt FCA can fuck her.
Yeah, except it's way worse because in this you're actually creating duplicate consciousnesses.
And like honestly, like I know we're not going to talk about it, but I'm so glad that I've watched Severance now and then watched this because I feel like there's a lot of the same like ethical, moral questions about like
even
what is real and like
should these people have rights?
Yeah.
Even having not seen it, I was like, oh wow, it's that whole inside-outside thing that I know is in some capacity part of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually saw a quote from Charlie Brooker about how like he hasn't watched Severance because people keep telling him it's so much like Black Mirror but even better.
Oh, whoops! It's just different. I enjoyed Charlie Brooker an awful lot.
One's an anthology show and one's a series.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, like Severance is a very Black Mirror idea.
Oh, definitely. But it's like again, it's a whole series,
right? Instead of like a one-off, like what if?
Yeah, I think Charlie was being largely tongue-in-cheek there. I don't think he's actually feeling threatened by.
I mean, honestly, if I was told that, I'd be like, well, I have to avoid watching it now because then
it'll
influence me.
Yeah. Like,
even if it doesn't, people will say it did.
Yeah, like I feel like it's one of those things he can't watch it until he's done with Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Black Mirror can just keep going. Like he's actually also said, never say never to another USS Callister episode because they did leave it off somewhere where you can keep playing with it. Where most Black Mirror episodes, there's not usually a way to keep going with that episode.
Yeah.
And I did not see that ending coming. Like that saving everybody would mean shoving them all into her brain.
Yeah, well, I think that's
Nanette's brain.
I guess that's probably a side effect of the fact that the game couldn't even make a private server anymore because it crashed so hard.
The thing I find so interesting about Charlie Brooker too is that he's created Black Mirror, right? And he's writes most, if not all, of the episodes.
Yeah,
he's credited as a writer.
Yeah, I think he's at least credited.
He also writes the Philomena Kunk stuff.
Yes,
like
that's right. I always forget that.
Like,
amazing.
Whenever his name pops up, I'm like,
you have
God.
got to watch.
The humor
it's
in
on Netflix.
Episodes.
It's called Kunk. You got to watch. It's called Kunk on Earth.
And Kunk on
You've
Life.
definitely seen clips or memes with
It's
the
hilarious.
redheaded woman
from IT Crowd.
No, it's not the same. It's not
No,
the
it
same.
just
I
looks a
keep
lot
no,
like
They
her.
look
I
similar.
keep mixing them up.
So
I
it
think
looks
you
like
thought
Jen?
that too at first.
Oh,
did.
she looks a lot like Jen.
She does.
Okay.
But
No,
she's.
yeah.
But yeah, she's...
What's it called? Kunk on Earth?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
Netflix.
there's two shows. There's Kunk on Earth and Kunk on Life.
And it's also based on like clips from other like.
I think she started as a character on a
Documentaries.
sketch show, maybe.
But it's like this. Charlie Brooker wrote this whole thing, and it's hilarious.
It's so
and it's basically
funny.
this
I fucking
woman
died.
who pretends to be like she's doing like a documentarian, going around and interviewing actual experts about different topics, but she's completely daft, like absolutely stupid.
I have seen clips of this.
Yeah.
God,
My-
I just saw one actually really recently, and I can't think of what it was. But yes, okay, I have seen
but
it.
It's very funny, but it's so interesting that like Charlie Brooker does Black Mirror
Well,
and Kunk.
It's funny, looking at his like filmography, aside from Black Mirror, most of his stuff seems to be comedy.
Yeah. Well, he had there's a lot of clips on YouTube that, like, my first introduction to Charlie Brooker, even before Black Mirror, was, he had these, I think they were called Screen Wipe, was the show.
Yeah, there's a couple of video game related shows here too.
And it's like, it's mostly just like commentary on the media, but done in a comedic way. So if you go onto like YouTube and search for Screen Wipe, you'll find some funny clips.
Okay,
He was actually in it too. Like he was acting in it as well.
Very cool.
let's check it out.
Oh, also, our Russian is actually English.
Oh, I see.
I mean, she might be of Russian stock again with that
With
surname.
that name,
but...
yeah, it might be. It might be.
She does a great job. I like her.
Like oh god, what's his name? Bless him. Chekhov, rest in peace.
Oh, Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, Yelchin. I almost said Yelchin. What the fuck am I talking about?
Weird Anton Yankovic.
Yeah, speaking of Charlie Brooker writing all of these things and writing, at least having a credit on, if it's not every single Black Mirror episode, I'd be surprised. This is actually the first one that they had a writing room for, because I think because they were originally using it as a series. So you'll see like there's actually 4 different names credited for writing this episode, which usually maybe you'll see 2,
Yeah.
which is kind of fascinating. But yeah, I would love to see what they want to do with a potential sequel, because I think there's more. They're so fun, and all the actors fucking love it. And Jimmy Simpson is fucking adorable.
I mean, at this point, though, like, what would a sequel entail, considering like the?
I think it might just end up being another Black Mirror story.
I feel like they probably the most logical next step is like they find ways to sort of like share her body. So like, all right, it's Jimmy's hour, it's Dudani's hour, it's a
Oh, that
Russian
could get really
girl.
gross
Elena.
really fast.
Elena's
But also,
hour.
I'm picturing.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You.
You're our guest.
No, you.
I was just gonna say maybe it's gonna just evolve into like the Magic School Bus, and they're gonna shrink down the little plane and be like flying it through her body. That's what I was gonna say. My very serious.
I was just gonna, just thinking that she now is operating with the power of multiple brains, like people
True.
who can make phone calls from inside her head.
Yeah,
To the real world.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the phone call from inside her head kind of took me out of it as well.
No, I loved
Because
it.
If they're just like
in her
head,
Yeah.
they're not connected to the internet or anything. How
Yeah,
are they
There's
making
Wi-Fi.
phone calls?
There's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but
She doesn't have a Wi-Fi card in her
She
head.
doesn't have to.
It's
They're
Black
in her
Mirror.
head, and the Wi-Fi is right there.
It's
But
Black
you-
Mirror. There are other episodes where people have Wi-Fi in their heads.
I'm just
I
saying,
know, but
like your
there's-
skull doesn't
there's
have
always,
like
like-
Wi-Fi stopping capability.
Maybe
does
she
it?
no,
still
but
got whatever implant that they had on her in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, she was hooked
Right,
up in the
because she
hospital.
was. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
but
was
she took all
wired
that
for
shit
sound in the
off.
hospital.
Yeah, but they're
Did
gonna
you
be
get
little
all of it?
contacts that would have probably stuck on.
Yeah, like when they're in the game, obviously it makes sense because it's just a VoIP call. But yeah, once they're in her head, it's like, wait a second.
Thing is,
I think they just have a hotline that they could just get there directly.
Well, yeah, that maybe that's what maybe really what it comes down to is they're in her head. They're not actually calling her, but she's kind of hallucinating that aspect of it.
Or they're just showing it to us like that way as like something for the audience.
Well, no, because they do actively cut to her phone in that last scene,
Yeah,
showing that
it's
she's getting a
ringing.
call from no player tag. So
Gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then they're just talking directly to her at the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
through the thing. So it's like,
Damn it, Jake.
Yeah.
She didn't have a phone for the last one when they were watching.
Oh
Different
no, she
Housewives?
was. She
I
was
think she
listening on the
did.
yeah,
phone.
no, she did. But again,
That's right.
that's
It was on speaker.
right. But that's what I mean, though. It's like at that point they are in her head. She's not at the hospital anymore,
Yeah.
unless she got a Wi-Fi antenna installed. Well, maybe she did.
It's possible.
Let's assume.
Yeah, that works.
I just really fail to understand the problem. If her body is in a space that has Wi-Fi, why could they not...
Like, can you connect your body to Wi-Fi?
We can't go into a virtual reality.
Yeah, but because we don't have the little bits on the side of our head.
Yeah, the issue is they are theoretically just data in her head.
Yeah, like
they're not a Wi-Fi transmitter. Like, Wi-Fi is invisible, but there is like a physical antenna in my phone.
There's a radio in your phone that allows it to connect to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and that's the thing is Wi-Fi.
There's no radio in your head that would allow you to connect to Wi-Fi.
Maybe there is in Nanette's head.
And now I want to go back and see if like they put any if makeup put any little nubbins on her.
Here's the thing though, like in other this is a problem I have. This is a complaint I have about Black Mirror in general.
They try to make them in the same universe.
They try to make them in the same universe, and they really overdo the nubbins, whatever we were calling them.
What they call them, pucks? Didn't someone call it a puck at one point?
I just called them nubbins.
But
well, someone gave it a name during the first episode when he's like, he's not going to be fooled by the fake blip for long, and I thought they said puck, but
let's call it puck. Fine. So I feel like that first showed up maybe it was in White Christmas. Might have been the first time we saw one of those, but then they've just used that same idea,
interface thing.
Yeah, of like you just glue this thing to the side of your temple.
Yeah, how do they stay in place?
So we don't know, but we've seen them in a ton of Black Mirror episodes, and it's always shown as not needing any kind of like internal component. Like people who've never used it can just open one up and stick it on, and it works.
Like Walton did.
Like Walton did, or there's
in the shot when he first puts it on, it sticks to his hair, and I was so bothered by that. I'm like, is that a plot device? Because that definitely just stuck to his hair and then moved. And they kept that shot.
Like, I'd buy it if there was, like, an implanted, like, neural interface that you had to...
Right, and it was like a magnet and went boop, or whatever
like
to, like, connect to it
I
or
would buy,
something.
and I'd be like, okay, there could be Wi-Fi there, but they've never shown that. But
it's probably just has an adhesive strip that you have to change out every X number of uses so that... Yeah, you only sell one nubbin per person, but you can sell those little glue packs, and that's where your money comes from. That and the subscription services.
I've got lots and lots of stock in 3M. I don't have that.
Yeah, but even in the early scene when Walton visits Daly in the garage, Daly has one, but it's like a primitive version that's wired to his computer.
With the rainbow wires. Yeah. That was a great touch.
It's also interesting to me though that they very consciously made that scene and made like Daly's garage look like the 1980s.
Very early days of Steve Jobs or Bill Gates.
And obviously the stuff, the more present day stuff seems very 2025 or 20 whatever.
Next Sunday AD.
Yeah. It's not a very futuristic world because they still have smartphones just like ours. They still have... The only thing that's different is they have these neural interfaces.
Yeah. Well, and like in monitors, even the smartphones are like a single fucking sheet of glass.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know it's very close. It's one of those. It's the future, but we're not going to overdo it. Future.
Yeah, but it's definitely an alternate universe where at some point in the 80s or early 90s or some point in the past, this neural interface technology was invented.
And this weird DNA.
And this DNA,
reverse 3D printer.
Exactly. It's not our universe. It's not our not too distant future. It's a not too distant future from a time.
It's a not too distant future in an alternate history.
In an alternate history where this technology was invented.
Yeah, I think that to me the best twist of the episode is that this is all fucking Walton's fault.
Yeah, and also just the fact that digital Walton, right? The one that's living in the simulation.
Caveman Walton. Who's my favorite Walton.
He was cloned after real Walton made Infinity and put Daly there.
Yeah.
So that's why he knows about it, obviously.
Yep.
So it's interesting to me that Daly ended up doing the same thing to him.
Yeah.
That he had already done to Daly, which was imprison him in this simulation.
But then he takes it way too far.
Yeah. Oh my god, the thing with his kid in the first episode, I was like, ooh.
Well, and the thing is, Daly at least consented to it. Like, maybe it was a bad idea, but he did say, I will do this.
Yeah, he's like, I'm such a perfectionist that I have to be the one making every single planet in this game, but I don't have the physical time. There's a way for me to actually do it? Yeah, let's go with that.
Dude's never heard of No Man's Sky, apparently.
I think it just goes with, like, being a
dick
and, like, a sociopath, right?
Yeah.
Like, he has no concept of other people's pain or emotional states. It's like, I'll just copy a person. I'll copy myself. Fuck him.
Like, he's not. Yeah, I was gonna say he's not even conceiving of like a clone of him being a person outside of himself. That is probably that is definitely going to be the most relatable, the person he can most empathize with.
Yeah,
and still doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, he did seem perfectly happy to be there doing his thing, which is wild.
Yeah, he did.
I feel like I could only be doing that for
a day.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, fuck this
When
shit.
do I get a break?
I mean, he seems to really like making planets.
Yeah.
And they did say earlier in the episode that every new player gets their own planet when they first sign up. So everybody that plays... So Daly must be making planets for everybody.
He has made at least 35 million planets.
I like that he thought he had been in there for like 500 years.
Well, from his perspective, he has.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's horrifying. It's been like a couple years, and it feels
but
like...
They probably have to like speed up time for his simulation just so that he can crank out planets fast enough that...
That's the thing I wonder.
Cranking them out all right.
That's right. That did make me wonder, like, obviously when they're interacting with real-world players, their time is 1-1 with ours. But I kind of wonder if when they're not, like, how long have the Callister people...
Like, have they perceived?
Because in the real world, quote-unquote, it's been a few months since Callister won. I wonder from their perspective if it's been longer.
See, I don't know, because I think that within the universe of Infinity, time must be moving at a constant rate because people can log in and log off.
Yeah.
And, like, time hasn't. So there's probably, like, time rules for Infinity.
That's kind of what I figured.
But then I think there has to be separate time rules for the core,
where
Daly is, which makes me wonder, so how, like, time, the way it's shown in the episode, Melody goes into, I can't remember the character's name. Nanette
Cole.
Nanette goes into the core to meet with Daly. And it seems to be happening pretty much in real time with what's happening outside the core with the space battle. When in theory you would think that she should, like, everything that's happening in the core should be happening almost instantaneously from outside because the time must be running much, much faster in the core.
Unless her jumping in caused it to have to align with the game time?
I don't know.
Like, maybe because there's something about her coding that didn't allow it to do the speed up thing.
Yeah, she can't speed up because she's a different entity thing.
A wizard did it.
Yeah.
A wizard did it.
And the USS Callister crew can sleep because we've seen Nanette wake up from a dream.
True, that's right.
They can dream. Holy shit.
That's right, because that was there was even a line in the first one, I remember dreaming. So they used to not be able to.
Well, it was strongly implied that what they were... because they were running in, they weren't in the actual Infinity.
Yeah, they were
on just on
the
Daly's
private
server, and it's strongly implied that like it's a more primitive setup. And
the impression I was that they were just awake 24/7 in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they can sleep.
Grinding their minds together.
Because like, why would Daly add that to his private simulation if he didn't have to?
Yeah.
It is wild that he would make them completely sexless. Like,
well, if he can't get it, no one can.
Yeah, but he probably...
I mean...
If he wanted it, he could get it. That's what I mean.
But I don't think that's what he wants. I think what
he just
Daly...
wants a role play.
Daly in that when he enters that world is looking for ways to show power, something he can't do in the real life.
Rape is all about power.
I just don't know why he wouldn't have...
It's not necessarily sexual.
But what I mean is... I'm surprised... that someone like this, though I suppose if he can snap your fingers and take away your face, he can snap his fingers and give you
junk,
whatever he wants to give you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was until I started thinking about it just now, I was kind of grateful to think, oh, good, but at least I know he's not raping them. But now I guess I don't know that.
Well, I think maybe what it comes down to is even though now he could, I don't think it's decency. Don't get me wrong, but there's something holding him back.
I just don't think he's a sexual person. I don't think he.
No, maybe.
That's just not his
need,
want or expression of power.
Because they do say he doesn't even, like, slip him the tongue when he makes out with them in the first one.
But he also then in the second one is like, I mean, no funny stuff. I mean, unless you want to. I mean, and how long does it take for it to escalate from unless you want to unless I feel like it? I don't know. Anyway, sorry, he's just such a fucking creepazoid that this is what I expect, and I was surprised and pleasantly surprised, I guess, that...
creep.
These are the only things I've seen him in, but yes.
He's great in
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, obviously. That's kind of where...
Who is he in Breaking Bad?
He plays Meth Damon.
Meth Damon?
No, because when the show first came out, he was an unknown actor, and he looks kind of like Matt Damon.
Yeah.
But he
that.
played a meth dealer, so everyone called him Meth Damon.
That's hilarious.
But he was basically the same like sociopathic monster in that show.
I didn't know he was in that, so I kind of wonder if that was like the gag of hiring Aaron Paul to be the king of space at the end of the first one.
Yeah, could have been, because he was actually, not to spoil too much, but he was a tormentor of Aaron Paul's character.
Here's a great note about Aaron Paul, because last time when we were talking USS Callister, the first one, I brought up the quote that Aaron Paul, who's gamer 69-1, which is adorable, said, "Yeah, but this can't be the only Black Mirror I'm in." And since we talked about this last, he got to lead the Black Mirror episode Beyond the Sea. So, yay, more Aaron Paul for everyone.
Which was another space episode.
And I'm sorry, which one's Aaron Paul again?
Jesse in Breaking Bad.
And he was in this episode, or he wasn't?
No,
he was in the first one.
His voice was
King
in the
of
first one.
Space! That guy.
Yeah, at the very end of the first one.
He's the one that, like, when they first get into the real simulation...
Oh, and he's like, bitch, you better run.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny, because I had completely forgotten he was in it. So then that voice pops, I'm like, is that goddamn Todd from BoJack? And it was.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy that sleeps on his couch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hooray! Question mark? Apparently Jesse Plemons is married to Kirsten Dunst.
Oh,
Yeah, they played opposite each other in
Fargo.
Fargo.
So good.
Yeah, he's really good in everything he's in. Everything I've seen him in.
Well, he even does it, like I said, he does a really good job even in this one, where it's like there's moments where he manages to pretend he's not a creep, and it's pretty convincing. So he's a good actor.
Yeah. It's a great Black Mirror moment when you realize, oh, the guy that I thought I was supposed to emotionally side with is not the one I should be emotionally siding with. Good for them.
I was so excited for Bob when he had this admirer at the beginning. I was like, isn't that nice? And then I was like, oh my fuck.
Fuck you.
Nanette has clearly never seen Castaway, because the minute Caveman Walton was like, I have to
Rocky.
get Rocky, I was like, that's going to be a rock with a face.
Rocky's got a hole in the back.
That I wasn't expecting.
That was great.
Yeah,
really? I didn't notice.
My notes there was, aw, Rocky, and then the next note is, Rocky.
But Rocky gets his revenge because real world
That's true.
wangs him on the head with Rocky.
And then,
holy shit. That was Rocky?
Yeah, Rocky.
Yes, Rocky's revenge.
Just
what I do
Rocky.
love, though, is that then real Walton does kind of look at his fingers like, what did I just touch?
Oh.
No!
Oh, man.
Oh, this is the zone.
I'm not going to lie, though. Take away the hole, and I would totally buy a Rocky.
A pet Rocky.
So, Netflix, make it not a sex toy, and I will buy
The
one.
70s already did this.
You can tape over the back.
I just don't want it there. It's creepy. I don't want to think that, like,
You
maybe
don't want to
they
be
have...
tempted.
No, I'd never...
Rocky, you tease.
Rocky, no funny stuff unless you're into it.
I'd never be able to convince myself that maybe they didn't have Jimmy Simpson test every one before they sold it.
No. Why would you fuck a rock?
He was really lonely. Genitals for the first time in years.
He's got 2 hands and probably coconuts somewhere. Why would you fuck a rock?
I don't know. It's for the sake of the joke.
2 fibers.
But moist.
Oh.
Disgusting.
Moving on.
I hate myself.
Please, yeah.
What's
Moving on.
next?
I just have a thing. I don't know how deep we want to get into this because everything is fucking
Well,
depressing these days.
At least as deep as what's his name got into Rocky.
Oh, God. Heckin' yikes. I was reading Den of Geeks' review of this, and the one thing that they said was, the first one has this kind of, like, political lean to it because it came out during the Me Too movement. It's very, Daly is a creep-centric. And he says, well, the thing I don't really like about this one is how apolitical it is. And I'm like, well, hecking disagree, sir.
What world are you in
What are you watching? Because
God, people don't have media literacy.
Yeah, because every single time Walton is aiming his gun at the clone folks and saying, they're illegals, we should shoot them, I'm like, oh boy, refugee and immigration crisis is right there.
Well, plus, like, he's
Holy
just so
shit.
gung-ho to fuck shit up. It made me think of Elon with his fucking stupid,
Chainsaw?
Yes! When whoever it was gave him the chainsaw, and he was like,
woohoo!
President of Hungary?
No,
it's one of the South American
Argentina.
nations.
Oh, sorry.
He's the chainsaw was his thing in the campaign.
That guy, like, his haircut is so 1970s that his
face is so plastic.
President there, he looks like he was a killer in an episode of
Which
Columbo.
president?
Milei. Javier Milei.
He looks like a character from a 70s murder mystery. Yeah, no, like, plus, I mean, even that aside, like, bad corporate man is political. Like,
absolutely. There's so much, like, all the little microtransactions, like, everything is for the capitalism of it all.
The shitification was, like, the theme, another theme I saw.
Yeah. Ugh.
He looks like he would have been in, like, BBC period pieces.
Like, okay.
In the 19...
Yeah, because there's also, like, there's a moment where they're talking at the beginning about all these microtransactions, and they call it the cost of existing, which, you know, is very healthcare-y of them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of commentary kind of woven through this episode very smartly in a way that, maybe it's because it's not wanging Den of Geek guy over the head that he's not
presumably
seeing it.
American, so.
And I checked, and
straight
he's a white
guy.
Yeah.
I mean...
Like, how fucking oblivious do you have to... But then again, I mean,
any Black Mirror episode has, like, these little moments of commentary on... It's because it's never about, you know, Charlie Brooker has said, like, it's not the bad tech show. It's not the show about tech being bad. It's about what humans will do when given opportunities and given power.
Right.
And that is so poignant, especially today.
I saw someone posted this screen cap from, I don't know if it was X or Blue Sky, but some guy bitching about, like, you know, we need the anti-Black Mirror, the show about how good tech is. And I looked the guy up, and of course he's like a fucking AI proponent. It's like, oh my god, half this show is about you fucking moron.
Couple of final notes, just because why the fuck not? Brooker has said that Captain Nanette hasn't, in fact, replaced real-world Nanette. It's more like a fusion.
They said that in the throw, but it doesn't look that way.
No,
it looks like Cloud from Metamorphosis on Zephram Cochrane Planet. What was the girl's name? Nancy?
Yeah.
One of the many
so.
Nancys.
Yeah, there were a lot of Nancys.
There's a lot of Nancys. Hedford. Nancy Hedford.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. The thing is, it's, again, in their world, it's only been a few months. So there's only a few months worth of, like, disparate memories that have to merge. So.
And yet Nanette is, like, clone Nanette is, like, a fully, you know, empowered woman. And she looks at real-world Nanette with, like, this kind of disgust, like, oh, You're impressed by me? I'm just in here living life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a few months of...
You must be pathetic.
However long it is, really, a few months even of just having to scrabble to survive will change you quickly. It's,
for that matter, real-world Nanette, like, Jesus Christ, she's got to be going through a lot because she knows she's the cause of Daly's death. And yet she's still working at that company.
Well, you know what?
Run!
In all of these shows that we listen to a lot of, we being Chris and I listen to a lot of, like, true crime. And the biggest sign that you did the murder is, like, not showing up to work the next day. Savvy murderers know that if you're going to do murder...
Months. You can leave now.
I'm just saying...
You passed the threshold, they're not expecting you.
I don't know.
It's a good job.
Yeah.
Maybe she likes
Plus,
the job.
are you telling me that in a fucking world where we are literally jacking into the Matrix for funsies, there weren't security cameras that picked up her sneaking in and out of that house? I just call it shenanigans. There's no fucking way.
She did mostly go around the outside of it.
He absolutely had something up there.
Well, it was like an apartment complex.
A drone.
She did have to go inside to that fridge.
Oh, she did. That's right. I forgot.
I'm just saying, something exists somewhere. It didn't take me out then, but it's taking me out now. God damn it! They definitely should have caught her.
I think it was Daly's hubris. He was like, no one's tracking.
I mean, the other thing though is like, would there have been any suspect of foul play? Would they even have checked the tapes? If it just
that's true.
Because it probably, from an outsider looking in, it probably just looked like, his game crashed and he got stuck.
And he fried, yeah.
And I'm guessing he just like
starved to death.
Yeah.
Actually, he probably dehydrated to death.
Well, that's what I wondered. Like, was he like? Because when I was rewatching, it was a little unclear. Like, is it just that he was stuck in the game and therefore died from whatever, or did the game crashing actually like wipe his brain even?
No, I think he was just sitting in his spaceship screaming exit game for however long it took for his body
I
to
agree.
shuffle off the
And it just-
That is certainly, I mean, not to be grim, but I kind of hope that's what it was, because fuck that guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to just show that, like, you know, you would hope that if you're a big, famous, rich tech CEO, that somebody would notice you were missing
He's the
come
CTO, and
yeah.
no one respects him.
Right, no, but that's the thing, is like no one respects him, no one cares about him. He probably didn't, you know, he didn't show up for work probably for several days or weeks
everyone
before
assumes-
somebody's
because
like, maybe
yeah.
we should go check on him.
Well, Infinity just launched. They're probably like figuring he's busy working on it.
That is the thing. It was Christmas Eve. The
Oh,
office
right. So
might
there's
have been
probably
closed.
a few days. Right, because in that could have if it was a Thursday, then it's Thursday, then it's Christmas.
And
then
that's
there's
even
2
sadder.
days
That means
off.
that there was like nobody that he would have missed him over the holidays
Yeah,
to
that's
have gone
If
and
you
checked
knew
on
him, would you miss him?
I
over
right?
the
Well, no,
holidays?
surely not.
Yeah, but that again though, that is like
Plus, him not coming to the office is like a bonus. It's like, oh, good, I don't have to worry that he's like staring at my ass when I like bend over to pick something up now.
I mean, Lord knows there were probably people like I'm sure the office did not close for the holidays, but the executives
no,
didn't have to come in.
Shania was like, no, we have a week off. It's Christmas
Oh,
Eve or
okay.
something. Didn't something like that? Question
she very well
mark?
may have.
Maybe she does, but like I'm telling you, there's somebody working 24/7 on
Yeah,
a
but-
game like that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
there's-
probably Dudani, that poor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, but they never. Oh, maybe in that case, I was gonna say,
Or,
they never get that
I
close
mean-
to the CFO or whatever he is.
or they have outsourced tech support.
Yeah, they might have outsourced.
Wait, what does she say? Does she say we have a week off? I feel like it's the first episode. She's like, "Why are you working? It's Christmas Eve. We're off for whatever." And then she calls her a loser and leaves. I can't remember the amount of time.
I don't remember, but again, either way though, yeah, like nobody missed this guy.
Yeah, that's the point. Is it
Yeah.
like
Whereas again, like you said, again, looking at like a lot of true crime stuff, it's often they find someone because their office goes, "Where the fuck is
We
Jim?"
need him.
Or a family member goes, "They call every Tuesday at 7," or
yeah, or it's Christmas and you know
there was that poor fuck. This
Come on.
guy. I feel so bad for this guy. This wasn't a true crime thing. This was a news story from a couple of years ago. And he had a very consistent, like, I think Domino's pizza order. And he had some sort of health crisis.
Oh, wow.
And he was alone. And Domino's was like, "Hey, where's that guy's order?" So they called for a wellness check on him.
That's
and that
amazing.
saved his life.
I remember
Wow,
Pizza to the rescue.
man, I have
Who
to.
knew?
Well,
now I
Domino's
have
to
to
the
be
rescue.
I mean, the thing is, but here's the thing though.
a very important.
If he was
distinction.
having a major health crisis,
Yeah.
and he's also someone who orders Domino's daily. Domino's may be just the cause of
Yeah,
and
and
solution
solution
to
yeah, they actually
all
feel
of this
really
guy's
guilty.
problems.
They're like, "Oh shit, we finally killed him."
Like, I feel like at some point he had to, maybe decides to try to get his health together, but he still calls Domino's every day, but just doesn't eat it, because he's like, if I don't call, they're gonna call the
Yeah, he's
ambulance.
there.
It's the dead
kill,
man switch.
Yeah, the kill switch right
Yeah.
there.
Oh
Or
my
he just
God.
rings up, it's like, "Hey, it's me. No, I don't need to pay." I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm trying to cut back. Yeah. Great. I'll talk to you tomorrow."
That was a great callback to the kill switch. Well done,
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
So you know how no one misses Daly? You know who I did miss?
Who?
Fucking Shania Lowry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
assume she must have been busy, because
Yeah,
she's
they couldn't
pretty
work
in
her.
demand.
They couldn't work with her schedule, so
That's
they
too
basically
bad.
had to say, "Okay, well, we're going to find a way to write her out of it." But it was also in a way that I felt was impactful because
Yeah.
knowing that the clone folk can get killed off when they say, like Lowry died, I can still smell her blood.
Oh.
Very visceral moment. Like you get it for these characters that now things are real for them. But I still do miss her. I thought she was a great presence in the.
I
Yeah.
loved her, and I loved how she was trying to take care of Nanette in the beginning when she's like,
In world and in game.
yeah, that's right. That's like, on the one hand, it's really sad that like women have to do this in a corporate setting, but her being like, take a wide berth on that one, he's a creep.
Yeah.
Like that was so fucking real, but also like good for you. That's your girl right there.
Yeah.
I think Bob killed his parents.
What?
I have no
Say more.
basis. I have no basis whatsoever for this. It's just that he's a fucking creepazoid Fruit Loop freak show, and nobody missed him. If he was some weird garage-dwelling little nerdling, the only people who would miss him are his parents, and if his parents don't miss him, it's because he killed them.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
no, I'd buy it.
You're gonna start like
Disconnected the carbon monoxide detector.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this was his escalation. First he killed his parents, now he's torturing half a dozen or dozens actually, because there's more. We find out like Jillian from accounting or whatever.
Yeah, she was one of the spider
got turned
things.
into a horrifying monster beast. I liked that the Russian girl, by the way, was in there and treated the way she was because what did she say, like insufficient smiling or something. I was like, oh.
I know it's the first one, but I do love too that like when he pauses the game that time with Jillian there. She just kind of like slumps like, ugh. Like they really animated it well. It goes from big horrifying monster thing to like sentient creature that's like, I need a fucking cigarette.
Weren't there, in the first one, weren't there other people in Daly's computer that weren't on the ship?
Yeah, so they presumably all got wiped.
They got
killed. They all got wiped from the Infinity upgrade. Only the people on the ship were saved because they flew through the thing.
Yeah, so that's why they still have Carl, because he was in the brig.
Okay.
Fucking Carl! We didn't even talk about Carl.
Let's talk about Carl.
That fucking pain in the ass bitch, the one who like
Rambo
invited people to the fucking.
He was gonna press the Finny button, like, whoa.
I thought about Finny also.
When I saw
that, you're here.
I referred to him in my notes as CW Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, it's funny because when I saw him choose the party button, I was like, I'm sorry, he doesn't actually think it's a literal party. I mean, he works for this company. He does not know. What does he do with this company that he doesn't know what a party invite is? But
maybe he's the one person that deserves to be there.
Well, no, I'm sure. But like, it's just like any company, you have people that don't actually work on the game because you're a company. He might have been one of the accountants or something.
Or like
he might
HR.
Yeah, customer service. He might just get yelled at all day by people who are pissed off about their credits or whatever.
The gym bag. He's important enough to have like his own little space and stuff. So.
Oh, maybe he's someone who pissed off Bob at the gym.
Oh, is he the one that was like, "Hey, Fatsos, maybe skim milk's a good idea"? Was that him? Or who?
No, that actually that was Nate.
Oh, that was Nate.
He goes, skim milk. He goes, yeah. Probably good call because of. And you can say he realizes what he's saying. He's like, oh.
Good call, bitch tits. Oh, fuck, he's my boss.
Whatever.
Just to be clear, I'm not body shaming the man who played Bob Daly at all. I know I said bitch tits. I don't think he has bitch tits. I personally am not shaming him. He can have skim milk or whole milk as far as I'm concerned, whatever he wants. So we're clear.
But yeah, like Carl, whatever he does at the company, he does not work on the game itself. He is something else.
I feel like he's a fucking marketing prick.
Oh my god, he is marketing. Yes. That's exactly what his whole demeanor is.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then he definitely should know what a party invite is.
Well, no, because again, he's marketing. A party's a very different thing for him.
Doesn't fucking matter. He should know the material inside and out for communications purposes.
That's true. He should.
Now this is professional rage for me.
Carl's kind of an idiot, but
he's their social media manager, and they just give him content to put on the.
Well, the content's probably shit.
Probably. A lot of places do that.
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, in my office, we have communications people who don't know fucking thing one about what we do, and yet they still try to rewrite the things we give them, and we're like, there's a reason you can't say it that way.
Oh, good. Chris is here.
Chris is making his angry Chris face.
Chris is
in Chris's
collecting
defense.
The DNA of someone at work.
Oh shit.
No. I like any sane person. I do not torture sentient digital people. I torture non-sentient ones. I crack open Grand Theft Auto and run down pedestrians. Liz takes ladders out of pools in
The Sims.
The Sims.
It's been a long time since I've done the ladder trick. I use an oven in a fenced-off corner of the yard.
Put a bunch of rugs down.
A plant, a little mini fridge, and the gate that you can lock.
But how long before we have LLMs controlling AIs in video games, so that even though they're not sentient people, but they would have...
What's an LLM?
A large language model, ChatGPT.
Like ChatGPT.
Yeah. All the little AI things you can...
I know what AI.
Oh, okay. You look very like
that technology driving like NPCs.
Oh, there's another Black Mirror episode about that this season.
Is there?
Oh, great.
That's the thing. In theory, we might hit that line one day, and then it's going to be like, oh, now this is gone.
Do I really want to run over this person who's pleading for their life in GTA? I don't know.
Is that the one? I'm thinking of the one in Black Mirror. Is that the one with Peter Capaldi?
Oh, I love Peter Capaldi.
Yeah, that's not Peter Capaldi.
Friend of the show, Peter Capaldi.
Good to see him.
Yeah,
that's like, again, like, why? We don't need that, so why are we pursuing it?
Well, it's like people making robots that feel pain. You know? You don't need that. I mean, I guess it's probably protective. It's just like why people have to feel pain, but still.
But and I feel like that feeling pain versus detecting that you've been damaged are like
two very different things.
That's true.
Because feeling
What's the difference?
Feeling pain.
What's the actual difference?
Feeling pain to me implies that there is a
sensation.
Exactly. That there is a consciousness that's like suffering because of this, versus,
as opposed to like a small alarm that's like,
it's like, oh, my arm is exceeding my robotic arm is exceeding its temperature constraints. I better move it so it doesn't melt.
Wouldn't they then interpret that sensation as pain? Like, what?
Not necessarily.
Why would they just say
so like
a switch went off?
If you get like if you get stabbed,
ouch, Liz.
Ouch, yes. You are distracted by the pain now. Now it's going to be debilitating. It's going to affect everything that you're doing right now. As opposed to a notification, you are now aware that there is a stab.
You have been stabbed.
Yeah, like, because
and you're just like, all right, well, I got to address that, but let me take a second and deal with this right now. Like, you don't have to. It's not gonna, it's not gonna bring you down in a fight in the same way.
Like the movie Novocaine.
Yeah, like pain is like a primitive. Like biological sensation in order to communicate the same thing of like a sensor.
Yeah. Like you don't have to program the robot to be sad that it got this signal. That's what it comes down to. Is we get a signal and our brain freaks out. You can tell a computer, you get this signal, don't feel bad, just stop doing what you're doing.
Well, they do it all the time in Star Trek anyway. Like, oh, the hull is exceeding the maximum, blah, blah, blah. But also, what I was going to say was, though, is when you get stabbed, the pain, like, it actually, I think, helps drive, like, adrenaline and shit that, like, makes you take action.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah,
that's...
like
stuff a robot wouldn't need to do.
Right, but I was going to say, like, if you're human, it's...
Depends on the robot.
It's distracting, but it also, like, to some extent, I think, like, once shit starts pumping, it, like, gets you into
it's a whole complicated thing.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But just in terms of... Oh, God, I had just gotten another example in my head, and I lost it. Sorry.
Is it the...
No, like a really distracting pain that I'm very familiar with, paper cut.
The worst.
Like, it's just gonna constantly, like, it's always there making me aware of it, and it is distracting, even though evolutionarily I don't need to be aware of it anymore. I've dealt with the problem, or I'm ignoring the problem because I can move on right now. I can deal with something more important at the moment.
And then you're making guacamole, and suddenly there's lime juice. And
but that paper cut's like, hey, you remember when that happened 10 minutes ago? I'm still here. Hey. I'm like, well, I want to use this hand right now. I need to.
Who's the one deciding what the most important thing to be doing is? Because if paper cut wants to be dealt with, and you're the one in your conscious brain deciding to ignore it, maybe the robot knows that you really should take care of the paper cut.
Yeah.
But how do you take care of a paper cut?
You
just
put
like a
on
Band-Aid? Oh, yeah, but do you Band-Aid
Yeah,
every
I mean, in the
a
case
paper
of...
cut has to draw blood for me to be Band-Aiding it, is all I'm saying. Like, if I Band-Aided every tiny scrape I got, I would be...
I mean, the thing is, our bodies don't understand that we're much cleaner than we were thousands of years ago, so that every little injury is potentially
Some
death.
of us.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but, like, even a minor cut, or, an abrasion of some kind is potentially fatal in a world that doesn't have proper hygiene and antibiotics. Yeah.
Right.
So, like, honestly, if you cut yourself in ancient times, or even an animal today in nature, if they cut themselves, that is a life-threatening emergency that you need to deal with right away.
In fact, not even ancient. I mean, again, just even like a century ago.
Yeah.
Before
or even now if you're out in the wilderness.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll set off the robo-klaxons. That's fine.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I just think it's important that we don't anthropomorphize robots.
Why not?
It's fine in fiction, but not in real life.
I think the thing is we can anthropomorphize them, but maybe don't be psychotic and program them to feel pain. Just
but again,
program them to react.
I think that's the thing.
I
don't think anyone is suggesting that we're programming them to feel pain in the sense of
the thing is
a human feeling pain. But
I have so little faith in our species at this point that I think out there somewhere someone is for some reason that.
The only reason I can see that being is for like testing of like crash test dummies.
There we go. I bet then somebody would.
No.
Crash test dummies should feel pain.
There's a Black Mirror episode waiting to happen.
There's a lot of creepy sex reasons why someone might want this
Jesus
also.
Christ.
I'm sorry! It is! And those are the people that are programming robots to feel pain. I'm sorry.
How did we get on this topic?
I don't know.
I blame
LLMs
Chris.
in dialogue.
No, I think I'm actually the one that said the thing about the pain, maybe. Did I?
Oh, I was talking
Was
about
it
killing people in The Sims.
Oh,
And
yeah.
GTA.
Anyway, this is a cool episode of the show, though.
Of our show or this show?
Oh,
The
why
show.
not?
Don't like talking about robots feeling pain.
And you shouldn't, because it shouldn't be a thing.
The robots need to know when they need to stop doing a thing.
Yeah. Ames, you're talking about robots feeling pain right now.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's... Hey, there used to be a different ending.
Oh, tell me. Really?
The original ending would have, quote, been more of a Wizard of Oz goodbye scene. Oh, but the director, Toby Haynes, suggested the crew living in the head thing. And Brooker was initially hesitant because it's a thing that we've seen already on Black Mirror. Wink, wink, don't you know? But then they realized that, it's a good idea and we like it. Director Tony Haynes, who also directed a bunch of Andor, and I'm excited for Andor to come back pretty soon.
Oh, nice.
Also slated, and I have no idea any details on this at this time, directed to direct the upcoming tentative 14th Star Trek film.
Oh,
which
what?
no one's heard about in years. So
which has been floating around forever and ever.
The Kelvin one or whatever?
Or I don't even know if it's Kelvin
anymore. I don't think it's Kelvin, but it is JJ produced.
Keep that
is this the one that Quentin Tarantino was going to direct by the rumors 3 years ago or whatever it was?
That was like 10 years.
Yeah, no, I think
that was before Beyond.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I think now they're talking about something set
right after Beyond.
Like in the early 23rd century was the last thing I heard.
Yeah, some kind of prequel thing.
Well, thank God, because Section 31 went over really well. So I think the best thing to do would be to just keep pumping out Star Trek movies for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the ending. I don't know. One of my all-time favorite movies is Being John Malkovich. And I always like the ending of it. Spoilers for Being John Malkovich, which is like a 30-year-old film. So fuck you if you haven't seen it. You got to go see it. It's great.
Is it good?
It's so
it just
good.
seems weird.
It's amazing.
Oh, it is weird.
It's one of my favorite movies. But anyway, yeah, like at the end, one of the characters basically gets in the situation where they're just trapped in somebody else's head and can't do anything. They're just kind of spectating, and that just always seems to me like to be the most horrific fate.
At least they have some communication with her, though. So
yeah,
there's sort of
a little mercy.
Yeah, there's like, I'll turn on this awful show for you people.
They also have the rest of the ship, presumably, to
in theory.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, how bored is that going to become?
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a lot in the ship. They have foods and drinks, but I don't know if they have any. Like, do they have a pool table, for crying out loud?
Do the drinks replenish themselves?
I assume they must.
They must. I hope.
Do they have a holodeck?
No.
I don't think so.
They were Rocky.
Their stimulation was seeing new planets.
No, I know.
Yeah.
They have Rocky. Jesus.
Yeah, because like
you have Rocky.
The end of the first one, where it's like, oh, we have an infinite procedurally generated universe to explore. It's like very hopeful and cool and fun. And the end of this one was like, oh no, you're just trapped in this lady's head forever. And
but
she's
nice to them.
She's nice to them.
At least they're friends.
At least they're friends.
We close our eyes.
Until they're not, right? Until she's like, fuck you, I'm not watching Desperate Housewives. Eat shit.
We close your eyes when you're in the bathroom or on Tinder date.
No, there was a good comment. I forget where I heard this one that, Cole doesn't seem that in a rush to get them out of her head, and they think it's probably because she kind of likes having control over fucking something in her life for a change.
No, that's the path to darkness. Nanette.
I mean, she did have the notes there, though. She did say
she was very much like, yeah, I'm looking into it.
Well,
But the thing is, they would know if she was actually looking into it because they could see everything she sees.
Yeah, so to an extent, like, she has to at least kind of work on it.
I just don't want, like, if they do a third episode and she becomes the villain, it's just really gonna suck.
I honestly hope they don't do a third. I'm
happy with it.
I think that this is fine. I feel very good about. I don't think they even needed to do this episode. I thought the first episode alone was very good.
It was perfect.
I'm glad they did this one.
This one is very good still.
Yeah, I'm glad they did a sequel. I think that's fun. But I think they can.
Yeah, they can
leave it.
Yeah.
Then again, I also won't complain if they give me a third one.
As long as it's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, unless it sucks. I was just gonna say.
I don't think there is a Black Mirror that I don't like. Which I cannot say about literally any other show.
Again, having only seen these two, I can also say I've not seen a Black Mirror I don't like.
Anyway, should we wrap this up? We've been going a bit here.
Yeah. So Jake us out.
Oh, I'll Jake us out. Well, that has been our discussion of USS Callister Into Darkness. Into Infinity.
Into Beyond.
Into Beyond.
Into Wrath.
Into
Infinity
Rocky.
and Beyond.
So we apologize if you were tuning in this week to listen to Star Trek content, but I hope you enjoyed this nonetheless. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week when we cover Star Trek Discovery's Light and Shadows. Until then, find us on the internet at SoundCloud and Tumblr, SSHB Podcast or sshbpodcast.com. We're on Blue Sky. Great content up there. Check that one. Facebook, Start a Seer by, search it. And, all your favorite podcasting locations. Until then, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This is Caitlin.
And Liz add-on.
Oh, I like that.
DLC.
Ah, the DLC. I'm glad we paid for that.
Downloadable Liz content.
DLLC.
Well, download is one word.
Yeah, but that's usually DLC for some reason.
I know.
Down.
But in this
Thanks
case...
for having me, guys.
Yay!